Okay. So a very lovely warm welcome to you all. Lunch and Learn, setting classroom boundaries. What we've got here is a time of the year where we've got a chance to make an enormous impression on the young people that we're working with. Now, I have to say that the majority of people here today are from college. So I'm pitching it for the older students, but obviously you can contextualize this however you want to. Can I just check that everybody can see my screen that says Lunch and Learn? If you can just put something in the chat if you can't, but I'll just plow on. What we're going to do is look at rules and routines and ways to stick to them, and how to use positive and solution finding approaches, because that way we can think about how we can keep things positive, stop the problems of managing behaviour. As far as I'm concerned, it's about keeping it light. It's difficult with behaviour, it's such an emotive subject, but let's give it our best shot. So everyone, this is us, adults in the college. This is us. We have an awful lot of roles to play, and if you're at school, it's the same. We have role model duties. We really want to be demonstrating trust, respect and positivity with everybody around us, because if there's an emergency or if there's a problem, everyone needs to be able to come to you for that. And that is around the campus or around the school. For some young people, that changes when they get into class, because either they don't like learning. In college, they might, be feeling a bit anxious and worried about the situation. And their previous experience could mean that classroom's not a great place for them to be. So sometimes we and they have a negative mindset, and there are some causes of negative behaviour. It could be the previous experience of individuals, that's you as well. It could be that you have lack of experience, that you haven't taught that much or haven't had a lot of beginning of term type situations. So we make a lot of presumptions, but there are lots of causes of negative behaviour. And I want you to just tell me what you notice about this slide. So I'll give you a second, but if you could put something in the chat, what you notice about this slide. You've all got your calculators out, haven't you? So what do you notice? No one can notice anything. Well, I'm going to tell you what you should be noticing, even if you haven't noticed anything. So first of all, yes, someone said number 3 is incorrect. Thank you. So you've noticed the thing that's wrong. And in our jobs, that is what, basically, that's part of our job, isn't it? To pick out the things that aren't right in terms of work and notice them. But what we fail to do most of the time is notice the things that are right. So we pick out the wrong and we forget about the right. So in this screen, we've got one thing that's wrong, 3 things that are right. And no one ever says to me, Hilary, what I've noticed is that 3 of these are right. Okay, no one ever says that. Why do you think that is? Now I want you to think about this. What does this say in here? Now, if you can take yourself off mute and you can tell me what you think it says, I'm fine with that. Or you can put in the chat what you think it says, because it's important. If you want to come off mute, please do so. You are shy today. So most people will say opportunity is nowhere. And I'm guessing that some of you would have said that, but what we're looking for here is opportunity is now here. And when opportunity is now here, well done. When opportunity is now here, that is how you should make your students and pupils feel that here's a great opportunity. So what we're going to try and do is explain the benefits of keeping boundaries. What we're after is selling it. We're going to sell this classroom experience to our young people by initiating the discussion. Now, we all know that everyone's been in a classroom before, unless you're 5, and everyone, when they come to college, they know what classroom rules really are about. They already know this stuff, but let's go from the scratch situation where avoid the don't smile till Christmas and instead explain the benefits of having rules and routines in class. Initiate the discussion. And when you've initiated the discussion, there are obviously going to be some not negotiables, agreed? Sorry, I'm just going to hear some noise. Can you put yourself on mute if you've got problems logging in? Thank you. So first of all, we need to get the agreement of the young people, and that by doing the conversation, then you know that you've got agreement. You've initiated, we've discussed it. There's some not negotiable and there's some that you could negotiate. But what we always get is the rules, which are don't do this, don't do that. No, 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 no. And that's all very depressing for everyone in the conversation. And we need to switch it. We need to flip the language, turn your don'ts into do's and rephrase them. So once you have all your don't do this, don't do that, no, 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 turn it round, switch the don'ts into do's. And I've got a list here of some common classroom don'ts. Let me recognise some of these. And what we're saying here is thou shalt not, you must not do this. No, no, no. And it sounds like a very negative atmosphere to be in. So what we should be thinking is about what we want our students to do. So there's one or two here I'll just outline with you. Like, don't be late. The way you would describe that rule and routine would be to say, we expect you to be there on time. Class starts at such and such, be there on time. And that is your expectation, agreed? So rather than saying don't, you say what it is you want. Now that's very easy to do if you've got your don'ts to begin with. So once you've got your list, then you flip it, you say what's supposed to happen. And what I've also noticed is that we get ever so polite. We're so polite, sometimes we say please even. And people often chastise me about this because we are supposed to be demonstrating and role modeling manners. But if I ask someone to make me a cup of tea, then I am definitely going to say please. But because it's a classroom, I think we need to think, is this you? Please put your phone in your bag. Or is this you? Can you please put your phone in your bag, please? The please at the beginning or the please at the end, yeah? So that's one way of verbalizing it. Please get to class on time, or make sure you're on time next lesson, please. So it's almost inviting a choice. And there's no choices there. When we've got rules and routines, we just have an expectation that they'll be followed through. So it's not very assertive to say please. Instead, we should try thinking about using the words thank you instead of please, and they will get better results. So try this. I need you to put your phone in your bag. Thank you. Or make sure you're on time next lesson. Thank you. And you don't have to, you say it with a smile or a thumbs up or an expectation that it will happen. It's not putting someone down. It's just saying that this is how it's going to be. I think you should just try it, because what we know about keeping boundaries is that if you don't keep them, if you break your routine, it shows weakness. And I'll give you an example of this, because sometimes when I've observed classes, there's like, oh, well, just for today, we will do this, or just this once then. When someone says, Miss, I've got an urgent phone call, oh, okay, just this once, I'll let you go on your phone or read your text. So that's a green light. Definitely, straight away, you've broken your own rule. You've broken your own rules. So why would the students think that it's okay, that it's not okay for them to break the rules as well? So you have to role model that. Don't say just this once or just for today. You need to say, remember what the routine is. And for other young people, changing the routines can lead to anxiety, because many young people feel safe within the rules that you've created with them. So they would either feel a sense of outrage that they're broken, or upset because they're no longer feeling safe. Does that make sense? So it's important. I'm just flipping my notes over. So be honest, stick to the bottom line, remind people that you've agreed these rules with them, and sell the benefits. Sell the benefits of the routines and the rules. Things will get done better and more smoothly. you will have less friction in class, the learning will be less problematic, and overall everyone will have a better classroom experience. So those are the benefits. The other thing is not to just talk about behaviour when it's not good, when you're not meeting the targets of the rules. Talk about it all the time. I mean, especially for the first 6 weeks, I absolutely believe that if you have an acknowledgement of success, then you can just work on the ones that aren't working so well. So when, this is a assessment document here, which I think needs to be reworded, obviously, but you could also include behaviour as part of your first half term, how things are going, and ask individuals whether they have actually kept to those rules and get them to judge themselves. So you would reword all of those routines and then say, how often did you keep to that? So that gives you the fantastic opportunity to say, well, this is really going well, but we need to improve in these areas. And if we can improve in these areas, the benefits will be, and then you roll it out again, improved classroom environment, better learning experience, etc. Now, the things that help with behaviour, I've got some bad news for you, my friends. In a behaviour situation, no one cares about your opinion. And that's true probably in life. But when you're feeling upset about something, the best thing is to stick to the facts. So if it's a rule breaker, then you just say, remember that these are the rules. Use constructive criticism, tell students what they should be doing, and remind them. Just keep reminding them and say how well it's going, and then say, these are the things we need to work on. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures now, because I think these pictures evoke feelings in people. The phone, I know, it's a common thread. This could change you from one state to another, and there's this one too. When your student has actually withdrawn from your class. Now, what's the rule about this? What's the boundary? You do expect your student to be present in the moment. But if you're upset by this, then you're not thinking of the heart of the behaviour. What is driving this behaviour? The students come to class, which means there was an intention to learn today. So you might want to say, I can see you're having problems getting started. Do you want a couple of minutes to sort yourselves out? And I'll come back and deal with you. So encourage a problem-solving approach rather than judgmental, and be assertive, say thank you. And sarcasm and anger, I don't know, you wouldn't say you've been up all night on the Xbox, have you? You could just say, I can see you're having a difficult time. Can I help you with that? Let's get you started. So there's a few things about reinforcing all of our agreed boundaries as well. If those of you who know a bit about Skinner and positive reinforcement, you'll know that reinforcing behaviour and rewarding for it and saying how well it's going can lead to better habits. And they used pigeons for these particular examples. So the pigeon, to get food, had to tap a little disc on the side of the cage. And it wasn't every tap, it was, a whole series of random taps, but food would eventually land in the tray if the pigeon kept tapping. So that's what you call positive reinforcement. Something good will come at the end of the behaviour or the action. You keep doing it, you get a result. But there's also the negative side of that. And here's a scenario about Donna, a real life scenario, one of mine from a few years ago. Donna used to turn up late to class, and with other teachers, her teachers were cross with her for doing that and would send her away. And the rule at the college at the time was, if you turn up late, more than 30 minutes late, then you have to go to the LRC. You won't be accepted into class. But when I was there, I was a supply teacher, and no one had told me this rule. And Donna came to my class 30 minutes or 32 minutes late probably, and I let her in. So, but for Donna, she was very upset about that, because in all her other lessons, she went late and they sent her away. That was immediately a win for Donna, wasn't it? So think about that. If you are if you're causing, if you like, a scenario where your student could say, oh, I hate this lesson, I'm going to leave, you're playing into their behavior in a negative way. And if we reinforce it by constantly chastising them, they'll say, you hate me, you don't want me here. So it's a very, very difficult situation. So let's think about how you can break the negative to deal with Donna. And for Donna, it was about saying, you're welcome to come to class. If you come early, you'll learn more. If you come on time, you'll be joining in with everybody else and you'll keep up. You sell the benefits to Donna. That's part of it. So final word of wisdom here, don't put in half the effort unless you're okay with half the results. Start strong. At this time of the year, you've got right up until half term, I'd say, stay on it. Don't waver from your classroom agreed processes and rules. Stick to the bottom line. And then, from the student's perspective, to review them, reinforce with them how well it's going. Say thank you and be consistent. And that is the end of today's session. So thank you very much. I hope to see you next time. Remember, if you've got anything you'd like to ask me about, with clarity on any points, please email them to me. I'll be more than happy to give you some feedback on that. So I'm going to just stop the recording.